First up, let's introduce my next guest. He's former royal editor of The Sun, Charlie Rae. Good afternoon, Charlie.
Afternoon, Kevin.
Right, bear with me. Remember this? This is South Park.
In Toronto, it's Good Morning, Canada. It has been several months now since our beloved Queen has died. All Canadians are finding it hard to go on. All Canadians, that is, except for our first guest, the Prince and his wife. We want privacy! We want privacy! Thanks for...
Well, that was South Park in its inimitable fashion. Shall we say, pouring scorn on Harry and Meghan's alleged bid to desire privacy through the prism of as much publicity as they can possibly get. Now, here's a new cartoon, Family Guy, or a new cartoon attack on the gruesome twosome. Family Guy has now featured Harry and Meghan as well. Take it away, Family Guy.
Millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense.
So that's the new one. This was from Family Guy. That's the butler presenting them with their cheque for $250,000 from Netflix for, as the butler says, no one knows what. The thing about this, Charlie, is it is an indication that the Americans have joined the Brits in somewhat pouring scorn on the gruesome twosome from Montecito, the Duke and Duchess of Netflix, as they're called. So for a long time, the narrative was this. Oh, the Brits are fed up with them. They don't like the way that Meghan doesn't like us, so we don't like her. And they really hate the way that Harry and Meghan have been pouring a bucket over the Queen, the royal family, ever since they moved to California. So the narrative is that's the way the Brits felt. But the Americans, they loved this progressive left-wing young couple who were full of woke ideas. The Americans loved them. Well, both these cartoons have proved, and I know from my American friends, that the Americans now have the same jaundiced view of Harry and Meghan as we in Britain do, right?
Absolutely, Kevin. And you have to wonder just how long the Netflix bosses who have paid this pair £80 million to produce all sorts of stuff. Oh, wait, they haven't. And you have to wonder how long these bosses are going to sit back and see their brand, which is what is happening, trashed like this, in ridicule. I mean, this Family Guy is, as you well know, is Seth MacFarlane's babe. He does an awful lot of the voices and everything else. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, they are being trashed in America, and as they have been in this country. And really, you know, what they're doing, if you remember, you got that Bill Simmons, the Spotify boss, who described, you know, they had a Spotify deal.
It's a family show. They were called effing grifters, he called them.
Effing grifters, which is, as you well know, is the Americanism for con men. And so there's an awful lot of high-powered people in America who are getting fed up. I'm actually thinking of ringing up Netflix and saying you and I could do a better deal for £80 million if you want, because they'll get a lot more out of us than they have had out of these two.
I would say, by the way, by way of a critique on Family Guy, that's the worst Harry impression I've ever heard. It looks like they've rolled out old Dick Van Dyke or something to do it. But that notwithstanding, it is a view of the way Americans see this couple now. And interestingly, Spotify today announced that they're back in profits. Their profits are soaring. And one of the reasons is they dumped the gruesome twosome. They got rid of Harry and Meghan because all they got for their $20 million was one short podcast series called Archetypes, 12 episodes from Meghan, that basically didn't do the business. It wasn't very interesting. People didn't like it. So very unproductive, and getting rid of Harry and Meghan has helped Spotify to get back into profit.
And as I say, that's one I think Netflix are going to wake up one day and think the same. They're spending an awful lot of money on this pair, and they're not getting anything back. Now, Netflix is on brand. It's well known throughout the world, and I don't think they take too kindly to this pair getting an awful lot of money and producing nothing.
No, exactly. You know where this will lead to, because the monetization of Harry and Meghan only takes one form. I think that they're realising, and a lot of business people in Hollywood are realising, that unless Mr. and Mrs. Sussex, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are pouring a bucket over the royal family, what have they done? They've accused them of racism, being skint, being nasty, being horrible, etc., etc. Unless they're doing that, nobody wants to know. They're not interesting. When they try and do their own projects, people just switch off.
And Kevin, you're absolutely correct, because we've now got a suggestion that Meghan is actually writing a memoir, which is going to pour another bucket load over the royal family. So they're going back to their base act, which is slagging off the royal family. Now, if this memoir comes out, and it's going to cause all sorts of damage again, but it's not going to enhance their reputation at all. They'll just be seen again as part of their major MOAN-ATHON that they continued since they left the royal family.
And I'll tell you why people are rapidly tiring even more of Harry. He's just a hypocrite. Both this couple keep telling us, care about the planet, be careful of how much you fly, be careful of driving petrol cars. Come on, save the planet, climate change and all that. So when they jetted off for an exclusive holiday on the Caribbean island of Canoan a couple of weeks ago, guess how they got there? Private jet, the least ecological form of transport known to man. I mean, they are just green hypocrites, saying, do as we say, not as we do.
And don't forget, of course, that after the Invictus Games, which was a reasonably good success, they jetted off to Portugal for a short holiday without the kids, before jetting back across the water to America again. So their carbon footprint is horrendous compared to everyone else. And you're absolutely right. I'm like you. I cannot stand people that tell me what I can do and what I can't do, especially with air travel and everything else, when they are themselves, ignoring their own advice, so to speak, and just it's all right for me, but it's not all right for you.
Absolutely not. Just a quick last word from you, Charlie. It was yesterday, was it, that Prince William, who's flying to Sydney, made it clear on a commercial jet, which is still quite ungreen, to be fair, but at least a commercial jet's better than a private jet. He said that this is Earthshot organisation. He said, we are not and never will tell people not to get on aeroplanes. We don't do that. And I thought that was probably quite a pointed comment, given that it was the day after it was revealed that Harry and Meghan flew by private jet to Canoan.
Oh, yeah, William is quite subtle when he's having a little dig at his brother and so forth. He's this Earthshot thing of his is his passion, but it's not a passion in the sense of it's for forgetting everything else and telling us what we can do and what we can't do. He realizes, I mean, this is the thing with travel. You've got to have planes at the moment, unless you suddenly come up from some Star Trek point and you can be beamed up, Scotty, without it causing any problems. Well, that's a long way off.
Yeah, it certainly is. What a shame. But there you go, Charlie. Good to talk to you, as always. Thank you so much, Charlie Rae, brilliant former royal editor of The Sun.